The Portland Trail Blazers are in the middle of having, for all intents and purposes, a very bad season. At the time I'm recording this video, they're now 17-25, which is good for 10th in the Western Conference. But, lucky for them, they have one player that can not only impact, but change the future of this franchise, and finally push them back into that title contender picture. So come on, let's talk about Anfernee Simons. However, before we begin talking about Anfernee, please remember to leave this video a like, share with anybody you want to, and subscribe to my channel. I'll greatly appreciate just about any support you're willing to give. And also, if you're interested in anything I do outside of YouTube, give me a follow on TikTok and Instagram. I'll really appreciate that as well. So now let's begin. Anfernee Simons played his high school ball at Edgewater High, and then took a post-grad year playing at IMG Academy, which is also in Florida. Now, notice how I say high school, and that's because Simons did not go to college. He initially committed to play at Louisville, but at that time the Cardinals were caught up in a lot of controversy, so he ultimately decided to decommit. He ultimately decided to bypass college and declare for the 2018 draft. And he did all of this without even hiring an agent, which is very impressive. And despite the lack of collegiate experience, ESPN still ranks Simons as the 19th best prospect entering the 2018 draft. And for good reason. Simons was a 6'3" combo guard who was an absolute lethal shooter from both the mid-range and three, thanks to his rapid quick release. He could also handle the ball pretty well and was a decent rebounder for his position. Not to mention, with his 6'9" wingspan and his athleticism, there was real hope that he could develop further on the defensive side of the ball. In layman's terms, he was pretty good. So when the 2018 draft came around, the Trail Blazers selected Simons 24th overall, where he's been ever since. Obviously. So far, he's improved on every season, but has just mainly been a bench guy. But he did win the 2021 dunk contest, which was pretty boring, but still. Aaron Gordon hasn't won one. Now we fast forward to the current season, the 2021-22 season, and the Blazers have been having a horrible go at it. They just had no luck. It's mad. This season has been very bad for them. Dame, CJ, and Cody Zeller all missed time due to injuries. They ended up firing their GM in December, and new head coach Chauncy Billups has implemented this aggressive hedging defense, which causes them to blitz a lot of pick and rolls. That approach has helped the Blazers go from a bottom 5 defense in the past 2 seasons to a now bottom 5 defense in this season. But hey, consistency is key. And without their usual top 5 offense to keep things afloat, the Blazers have sunk pretty quickly. But when things were at their darkest, when Damian Lillard at the beginning of the year was missing time due to his abdominal injury, there was one beacon of light. Anfernee Simons finally got his time to step into that starting lineup, and boy, he's been on a tear. In the 7 games he started so far, he's just averaging a little over 26 points, almost 3 rebounds, 8 assists per game, shooting 50, 40, 90. And has an offensive rating that is through the roof. And sure, it's a very small sample size and he'll come down to earth eventually, but it's still a very encouraging sign to see, his potential and what he's capable of, now that he has the keys to the car and could run the offense. He's always been a good shooter, and now he's developing other aspects of his game. And he's only 23, so who's to say that he won't get even better? But let's pump the brakes for a little bit. He is on the last year of his deal, as him and the Blazers could not agree on a rookie extension before the deadline this season. So he'll enter restricted free agency after this season's finished up. So with Simons blossoming, not to mention the Blazers' injury and defensive woes, what exactly do they do for the rest of the season? And more importantly, what do they do with Anfernee Simons? For the rest of the season, that's just easy. Tank. Not only will tanking give Damian Lillard more than enough time to heal and recover from his injuries, but it'll also allow the younger guys on the Portland Trail Blazers rosters to actually get some playing time and some quality minutes. Look, Simons, Nazir Little, CJ Ellaby, I think I'm pronouncing his name correctly, and Greg Brown III are all young guys, so you might as well play them now and see what they're capable of, and see who deserves more playing time going into next season. Not to mention, if they tank now, they also get back their first rounder from Chicago. Sure, it'll defer to 2023, but let's just focus on one year at a time. The Blazers should also trade all their expiring contracts before the trade deadline. I'm talking Nurkic, Covington, McLemore, Snell, Zeller. Well, maybe not Zeller. But honestly, I think Nurkic and Covington will yield a decent haul. Maybe not first round picks, but maybe some second round picks and some young guys you might be able to develop. It's just now I think is the best time to break up the roster a little more and try to build it from scratch again around Damian Lillard. Now, I know what you must be thinking.
Well, Andrew, if you're trading all the expirings, why don't you trade Simons as well?
And it's a good point. I see the value of selling high on Anfernee Simons. I think you could get a pretty decent return on him, especially if he keeps going on this tear that he's been. But I think you have to keep him. There is another guy you should trade, and that is CJ McCollum. Guys, just blow up the backcourts. Bro, it's time. It's not working. Let's start over. Just think about it and stay with me for a second. You have Lillard, CJ, Simons, and Norman Powell, all on the roster, all 6'3" and shorter. The best defender of that bunch is Norman Powell, and you play him at small forward. That way you could have the backcourt of Dame and CJ, which is all fine and hunky-dory. But Norman Powell, he is a good defender, but he can't regularly defend small forwards and other forwards. He's just too small. Yes, CJ is better than Powell right now, but Powell is younger and he's cheaper, and you'll get a better deal for CJ in a trade anyway. I think moving Norman Powell back to shooting guard where he's supposed to be would be better for everybody. And sure, he's not the same player as CJ is right now, but I think he still can develop into that type of player and provides better defense than CJ did. Now, the question still remains, who do you trade CJ for? And in a perfect world, it would be for Ben Simmons, but that is highly unlikely. So I think you trade him for the next best player that would help suit your roster, which is Miles Turner. Yeah, I know, how original of me, but honestly, I think he'll be a pretty good fit. He's exactly what this team needs right now. He's a great defender, although could be overrated a little bit. He could space the floor, and I think that a front court of Larry Nance Jr. and Miles Turner would be great defensively and could work well on paper at least. Now keep in mind, I don't know the exact details of what a CJ and Miles Turner trade would look like or what it would entail. I know the Pacers said they wanted a promising young guy and a first round pick or 2 first round picks. But this is just, made up. I made it up to, help support my narrative that I'm pushing for this video. So let's be kind. To summarize, if the Trailblazers decide to tank this season, they would allow Damian Lillard to get healthy, trade all their expiring contracts for young players and assets, trade CJ McCollum for Miles Turner or any positive defender. Honestly, this team is pretty desperate for good defenders. Not to mention they get back their first round pick from Chicago, which currently is a top 10 pick. Now, with all of this being said, where does that leave Anfernee Simons? Well, in Portland, I hope. Portland didn't offer Simons the rookie extension because they wanted to see him improve this season, especially under new head coach Chauncy Billups. And Simons responded by having a career year. Re-sign him, match any offer he gets in restricted free agency because he is a big part for them going forward. Now, I still think that Simons should come off the bench in Portland and take on that Jordan Clarkson / Lou Williams role, at least for another year or two, until he gains more experience and develops more. Until then, I still want Norman Powell starting over him. The goal for me was to get the Trailblazers younger, because on average, they're the 8th oldest team in the league right now. Not to mention, the Trailblazers were in what I would call an insanity loop, because they were taking the same core, the same team more or less, and trying to run it back over and over and over and over again, and expecting different results. This way you give Damian Lillard a whole new set of teammates, some young, hungry guys. And in my honest opinion, I mean, I did make the video, so I'm kind of biased here. A starting lineup of Dame and Powell in the backcourts. You have Nazir Little, Larry Nance Jr. and Miles Turner in the front court. It's a pretty good team. It's a pretty good starting five. Not to mention you have Anfernee Simons and your top 10 rookie who you drafted in 2022 coming off the bench, and insert other random bench guys here. I think that the future is looking bright for the Portland Trail Blazers. And the future is looking bright in Portland because of Anfernee Simons and the leap he was able to take this season. Like it or not, I think that he might be the future for this team, because we all love Dame time, but Father time, he's undefeated. Now guys, that is the end of this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. It's something a little different than what I normally tend to do, so let me know what you think in the comments below. Also, Portland fans, what do you guys think? What should you guys do this season? What would you like to see the Trailblazers do this season? I would love to hear all of that. Any criticisms, any remarks, any other things you want me to add on in the comments below. But guys, that is all, and I shall see you next time for my next video. I hope you guys take care and stay safe. Later.